Is meth mostly used by white people?
It's been my experience, yes, yes. And the cocaine, crack cocaine particularly, there is used a lot by the black folk. And of course white too. But the meth is bad. It takes your body.
How do they sell the meth? In pills or something?
It comes out in just pretty much like crack cocaine, yeah. Yes, and I guess you could call it pill. It's just broke up there when it comes out. It's broke up there, and they can smoke it. They can mix it with things there, and they've got their own ways. Usually they'll just take it in a pipe and smoke it.
What does meth supposed to do to you?
It gives you a euphoric high, a very deep high. The thing about meth is the chemicals that are used in it there, they attack the body. It doesn't last a real long time. It gives you a real, they tell me, I don't know, they tell me that it's been you get a real high off of it, but it's a short-term high. Soon after you smoke it or whatever, that high runs off. Consequently, there you go after it again. So it's not unusual that when we see a person, we can look at a person, they got that pallor to them. The drug is actually eating them up from the inside. I've been watching the commercials that they've got on TV. I don't know whether you've seen them, but these are very good. They're not just scare commercials. Somebody's done the research, and it is just awful. Every Wednesday we have what we call a ComStat. That means we go over the past week to see what kind of crimes have been committed, where they're committed. We reiterate what the ComStats are, what the computers already told us, the CAD systems already told us that we're picking up crime out here in the west side. Why? And the substation commanders there, they're alerted that, next week come in here and tell me what's going on. At the staff meeting there, the criminal investigators and the drug investigators asked, why is it picking up? What are y'all doing to it? So in that meeting we have, it's about 2 hours long, not only do we come in and see and show all the top organization of the sheriff's office what crimes are happening, we show where they're happening, and then the following week we expect them to come back in and tell us what have they done to knock this down. With the drugs, we pretty well know where the drugs are coming in. We know in some cases who's bringing them in, and we know where we've got to go to try and knock them out. But then that's true of burglary, it's true of auto theft. So when we leave out of here after Wednesday morning, everybody's got their marching orders and they know what they've got to go do. So we're fighting on several levels, not just one.
What about crack cocaine? Tell us about that.
Crack cocaine don't seem to be as prevalent as it used to be. It's still out there. And we hear, I was trying to think when I was talking a few minutes ago, the last time I saw any powder cocaine, which crack is made from the powder. And it's still out there, but not like it used to be. Crack is still just as bad. It's still down in the neighborhoods. I suppose with the crack it's easier because it's nothing more than putting it in a cookie plate and then basically cooking it until it goes into a solid form, and then taking it and breaking it up into different hits. And of course they have a size. They've got the $10 hit, they got the $25 hit, the $50 hit. Very rare on the and that stuff's mostly on the street, Herbert. It's not like the meth where they're inside a whole lot and they're dealing with it on the inside. You see a lot of street corner sales of the crack cocaine as opposed to where the meth is sold. It can be sold on the outside, but it's not as predominant in Macon, Bibb, as it is, say, with the crack cocaine.
And I guess the people go out and sell it to make more money.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you got folks that they'll go sell. First off, it's basically consignment. Most of these folks don't have the $1,500 or $2,000 there that it takes to come in. So they go in there and let's just say that you got the crack cocaine. I come to you and I'll ask you to let me go out there and sell some, and you'll give me maybe say $1,500 worth. Well, you're expecting your $1,500, so I go back up there and I jack it up where I get you your $1,500 and I get me a taste. Sometimes it's the drug itself, sometimes it's the extra money there that I've jacked it up and get it. People are buying it. We keep telling them, we keep trying to show them, we're making arrests, but they still go after the drugs. In doing so, they are taking the big man and they're just pouring money into his pockets there. And at the same time, you know, you've got the organization starts going there. After a while, this guy that is buying from you, pretty soon he's got enough money he can set up his own organization. Now you've got two drug operations going. And that's why we got to stay on it. That's why we've got to go in and consolidate the two drug squads there that with the extra manpower, the extra equipment, good savings of money. We got some sophisticated equipment that the city may have access someplace else to, but we've got it. We own it. A lot of the equipment is needed. We've got it. So a merger between the city and county on this would be a good deal because of just the cars. We had to constantly switch cars. Well, we keep a number of cars there that we can rotate in and out.
The last question, why can't the city and the county merge their drug operations?
There's all kinds of reasons, and I think the easiest answer to that there is you do what you want to do. I'm not trying to take anything away from the city by offering this merger. What I am trying to say is that I'm a constitutional officer. My authority there is county-wide. I can go anywhere in Bibb County and make a case of any kind in Bibb County. The relationship with the sheriff over the next county, who has that same authority. I'll pick the phone up and say, look, we're going to be working some drugs and it's probably going to come to your county. We need your help. Get it just like that. I don't have to swear in. In other words, when I cross over that county line as a constitutional officer, I'm already sworn in, and the deputies that I have swore in. It just makes things a lot easier to do. The second thing that I have to be very careful of is if I bring in folks there that, well, let's just say bring in city officers. Their jurisdiction is city only. I basically have to swear them in. As long as we work as a group, there's no problems. It was not a problem before. 20 years we didn't have that many problems there working together because the sheriffs would swear these city police officers in. They had the same power that the deputies did. But if you don't keep control over it, then if they go out there and misuse that power, it's not going to be the chief of police that's going to have to, it's going to be the sheriff. Well, why'd you swear them in? You gave them the power, they've abused it, they've misused it. Now people say, oh, we ain't going to do that. Well, I know for a fact there because I run that unit for 2 years, and I know for a fact that I run it at least 4 to 5 months prior to that, a couple of years prior. And even in that 4 to 5 months, there was abuses of power. My own deputies will do it if we don't keep a tight rein on them. And they know that we're not going to tolerate it.
I said last question. Last question.
Oh, you asking me as you won't.
What about, everybody's talking about consolidation now.
Yeah.
If they consolidate, which it seems like is in the mood now, who would be in charge, or who should be in charge of the police department on the consolidated unit?
Yeah, there's two routes that are being taken on that, and I've been pretty close on them. And one says the sheriff. That one is, Central Statham is pushing a bill on that. The other route is it says the chief of police. Well, the question I've asked about consolidation, I'm in office for one thing, and that is protect and serve. If you look at the constitutional duties when it laid it out for the sheriff, it said that I would preserve the peace, which meant that I have authority all over Bibb County. It also said that I would take care of the jail. The law now says that I provide security for the courthouse. I serve all the civil papers there. So what the sheriff is doing in Bibb County is pretty intensive. It's not, I've got 352 people. I work out of a $28 million a year budget. We're well familiar with the city and we're well familiar with the county. Now, I'm going to digress from that and go back to what one of the 99, which I think you own, said. And it recommended at the end, because it surprised me, that if you did not put the sheriff in charge of it, and you put the chief of police in there, you're paying the sheriff's salary over here, and you're paying the chief of police salary over here. Or let's just say, as the other alternative was a public safety director. You had to pay him a salary, but here's that old sheriff still sitting over here because he is a constitutional officer that only the legislature can remove, and basically are going to have a tough time doing that. So you're going to have to pay that sheriff. And if that sheriff is qualified, you know, now, and we're pretty well, to be run for sheriff, most people don't understand. I have to be fingerprinted, I have to be background, I have to take a course first off, I have to be mandated, which is 400 hours there. Then as sheriff, I have to go to a 160-hour course. Every year I have to take 20 hours of training. So, I mean, the sheriff is not some figure that don't know anything about law enforcement sitting out here. We're as qualified as anybody else that's worked that street. The one thing that I can think, the only thing I can think is why people get really worried about the sheriff era taking over. The only people, the only ones that control me, the sheriff, is the people. And that's where if you go to any sheriff, and there's 159 of us in the state of Georgia, if you go to Texas and go to the sheriff, you will find that that sheriff is generally going to be closer to the people than the mayor or the chief of, why? Well, one thing I believe in from my own tenure, and I've got 9 years to back it up, I have people come through that door all the time, and they have problems. I'll help them with a child that is not minded. I'll sit the child down and talk with them. I have a child that's run off. I'll send my deputies in to pull them out and bring them home. I have a situation with a husband and wife. I've literally sat in here and brought them back from divorce to coming back simply because, you know, the sheriff said, and I've heard the wife, now you heard what the sheriff said. And you know what? He paid attention, you know, but it's that relationship that I think that the sheriff has with the people, whether it's the affluent, whether it's the poor, then we look at it, and through that door comes my constituents, whether they got money, whether they don't have money, whether they have stature, or whether they don't. And we're trained in that manner. And I go to any sheriff in the state there, and I think when it comes out, he's going to tell you the same thing I just told you. If you don't like people, you ain't got no business there being the sheriff.
Okay, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir.